Alright, welcome everyone to the first round of Division 2 in Zoom Racing League Season 9. We started off here in the Jeddah circuit in Saudi Arabia, and we are going straight into full qualifying with our drivers here tonight. We have only two divisions, and this is the second one here on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sorry. And we are here for full qualifying. So Q1, these are our drivers for Season 9, and we will see what they can do. My name is Nathan Doan, and I am joined here in the booth with Magnuson Cube tonight. How are you doing, Magnuson?
Welcome everyone to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It is one of the toughest races of the year. Lots of corners on a circuit that doesn't have many places to rest. It's super fast. Average speeds are 150 miles an hour, 260 kilometers an hour. It's a very fast circuit, which results in chaotic racing. D1 yesterday, not as chaotic as expected, but it still had its moments, and long straights with closed barriers do result in a very high rate of the safety car. So if that could completely mix up tire strategy, and this circuit is one of those that heavily favors the softer compounds, as overtaking around here in the train is very difficult. 6.2 kilometers of asphalt, remember, 3.8 miles, 27 corners, the most out of any track on the calendar, on a tough, narrow circuit with not a lot of overtaking opportunities. The S's will make or break a driver's lap, as has been noticed. Nathan, what do you think of the circuit?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very fast circuit, as you say, and plenty of close walls and curbs that you just can't go over, so it's going to prove a very tricky challenge to all of these drivers here tonight. And I find this race to be a very exciting one. You said we expected it to be a little bit more chaotic last time out in D1, but it wasn't too bad, so hopefully we have the same thing here in Division 2. But it can really go any way. We see we see two drivers here on the intermediate tires on their outlap. We are on board right now with Simon Colston. Though it's an intermediate lap in dry conditions, this is just to make sure that his equipment is okay and everything is good to go for the first runs of qualifying. So, with it being full qualifying real quick, since it's an intermediate lap, I think I'll wait to have you do the hot lap for the softs. But let's talk about tire strategy here in qualifying. So, yeah, we have 3 qualifying sessions and we only have so many tires. So, what do you think we'll see as a run plan for tires here?
I think most people will want to get through to Q3 on 2 sets of softs. To drop off at this circuit is extreme, because there's not a lot of laps and tire wear is pretty high by percentage in comparison to, let's say, tracks of shorter circuits like Montreal or Barcelona. But here, tire wear is very high due to the long lap and many corners. That I don't think that will open up strategy, but what could open up strategy is a safety car or a virtual safety car. This track is chaotic, and everyone will have to be on their toes to get an idea of what race strategy is. If we get 25 laps, a full green flag running here, we're looking at a soft to medium, lap 11. If you can't do that, then hard to medium, lap 12, or if you're really feeling desperate, medium to hard. Or medium to soft if track position is the name of the game. As Dan goes around for a spin at a corner that has been modified a little bit. The run into turn 13 is a lot faster with brutal curbing. If you go over that, you will be heading to the scene of a Mick Schumacher style crash. And a lot of this track has been extensively modified to match what it looks like in real life, so it's just as narrow, it's just as dangerous, and it's just as thrilling as it is in real life.
Indeed, and I'm looking for someone on a hot lap right now so you can take us through. Let's...
Okay, we have Avira in the Red Bull.
And there goes John Ranger in P1. But Avira in the Red Bull, take us through it on the intermediate tires, I suppose.
Let's go up into turn 4, and then this whole section is make or break to your lap. Lots of high speed, highest corners. This new corner here, turn 8-9, has a brutal curb. The same thing goes for turn 11 and 12, and now Avira heads down into the banking of turn 13. And he pulls out of the way. Will be watch another driver on a lap as
Let's go with combined YouTuber here.
Combined YouTuber now down to reserve after what was a bit of a disappointing last season for the Australian driver. Timing related reasons have not really allowed him to do a full season again. He doesn't want a repeat of season 6, where he missed like half the races, and I think that could just be better for him. As we see combined heading down the back straight for the final corner, Max Verstappen probably loves it. Here it is, the last corner. Will combined experience a Max Verstappen moment? No, he won't. No need to absolutely send it into the final corner. And it's up to the line for the AlphaTauri reserve driver. And it is P6, a 1 minute 32.385.
With his teammate going P3 with a 131.233 behind him on the medium tires. So, like we were talking about with tire strategy here in qualifying, a lot of drivers will opt for the medium tires because they want to save those softs, maybe for the race, maybe just so they can get that extra run in qualifying. But that is why we have the medium tires in qualifying. And lots of intermediate tires, as we said before, just so people can, get a groove into this lap and delta. And one of those drivers is Rigraff here.
People just aren't going to be pushing flat out from the first second of qualifying, remember. This is one oversteery circuit. There is not a lot of room to make a mistake, and the rear can go very, very easily, as we found yesterday. I for one was struggling a lot with the rear of the car through a lot of the faster corners, and it just puts into question just how much over the limit you have to be driving around here to get an idea to be fast. You have to drive over the limits. You have to drive at 101, 102, 103% even. Because driving at 100% for this circuit is not enough. And we see Rigraff up to the line, a 128.984 in his full-time CRL return for the McLaren driver. See Jeff 1 on his way to
Jeff 1 into the pits, but
yeah.
So a return.
Mateo,
return.
The charred prodigy who had a bit of a disappointment last season. Don't we think? He was picked very high in the draft and then got absolutely trounced by Grid Jokes, who conversely was picked very low. So contrasting fortunes for last season's Ferrari team. Very contrasting fortunes. And Nathan, what do you think about Mateo as a driver, or just in general? What are your opinions on him?
Well, I mean, I think I knew about him before he even came to this league. I remember watching this one YouTube video about it was him trying to qualify for F1 Esports, and man, is he quick. His pace may have dropped off a little bit since F1 2021, but I still think he has a lot of potential in him. But someone I'm more focused on right now, someone who hasn't been racing Zoom Racing League for so long now, someone who I risked to pick in the draft here tonight is Mr. Sleek here in P18 and going through the final corner now. It's a full-time return after multiple seasons out of full-time racing, and he's going to come to the line. And what will it be for the McLaren driver?
And it will be a 128.5. That's straight in a second.
Well, as McLaren team principal, I can confirm that I am happy with that lap.
Just Q1. Those walls spell doom if you hit them. Especially if that left-hander Sleek is just coming past. The wall sticks out, and it's a sharp one. That second edge of the barrier, you hit it, and you will be out of the race. There is no chance to mess up on this. Not a street circuit per se. It is a street circuit in name here in Jeddah, but I wouldn't call this a street track.
And funnily enough, I experienced that exact same thing that you're just talking about last night in Division 1. So there's your point proven. So we see Dan coming across the line now in the Williams. He's going to have the DRS open to the line now, and it's going to be a 1:27.415, takes away P2 from Logan PSQ. And the top four only separated by about 0.2.
The top four are separated by over a second, but that's...
Oh wait, yeah, that is completely correct. My fault. But hey, optimism for McLaren. I was blinded maybe. But
Let's see. Let's
Mac
ride on board on a lap of the Jeddah Corniche circuit with Wild Fury. Starting the lap out of turn 27, and it is straight on the gas for the longest proper straight on the track. It is long route to build up speed as a tight chicane approaches. Turn 1 2 braking at 100 meters from 8th to 3rd gear, down to about 110 for the first part, and then going down to about 100 kilometers an hour for the slowest part of it. 60 miles an hour, and then exiting through turn 3, a flat kink, and then into turn 4. Will he hit the wall? Stays well clear of it. Into 5, and then into the S's section. This is make or break for Wild Fury's lap here. Let's see, bit of a confidence lift in this section. I think he's just not pushing, as he's a little bit wide of the apex at a lot of these corners. Up to the first sector, 32.6 into the banking at turn 13. Long left-hander. You're gonna wait to pick up the throttle. The rear can easily slide at any minute, and then it's these kings before the corner leads onto the back straight, down to 5th gear, and then it's straight on the gas again for the longest section, for the longest flat up portion of the circuit. And it is DRS wide open to the kinks of 8 through the kinks of 19 and 20 and 21 before turn 22, the most important corner on the lap. And it's 6th gear, oh, and he's gone wide, and that's an invalid for Wild Fury. And those curbs, I tell you, have caused a lot of pain. And will cause a lot of pain. This track is brutal. One more corner for Wild Fury, and he has backed off completely as Big Mama Frank, the new league owner, is up into P4 with a 1 minute 28.178.
Yeah, and it looks like we're about to have plenty of traffic in the final sector, but that has been cleared up now. We have Avira, a driver that is also new to this league on the soft tires for Red Bull. Apparently, Hudson Pool has plenty of confidence in this driver, and we will see if that confidence is well backed up. As going through the sector 1, I believe Avira hit a wall through the way, and then down to 5th gear, a bit wide of the apex, but it's okay, flat out now. And through sector 1, what will the time be for Avira? It will be a 1:36.60 or 4, 3 seconds up on his previous time, given it was on the intermediate tires. Some kind of low gears here through the long corners. I don't know if you noticed that. We'll see what gear
Yeah,
goes
down to
into
3rd
this
gear
right
for the
left.
banking. I think he just wants the rotation into 15, 16, and 17. That is also a bit low. And now we have him head down through the back straight, shifting up very late. And into the final the second last upper corner. This time he doesn't go over the curbs like Wild Fury. And it's up to the line now after one final hairpin. It's a wide one going through the sea, going past the seafront here in Saudi Arabia. One corner to go for Avira, up to the line. Soon, he's got a good exit, hasn't hit the wall. And he's going to have a bit of a tow from, I think, one of them are from Mateo. Here goes 5th fastest. He goes 6th, Avira, 1:28.034.
Yes, and his teammate now in the pits, but we will see who else is on the lap here. Would it be one of the AlphaTauris? Could it be Mr. Combined YouTuber? Yes, it is, and he has one more final corner to go, so we'll see what he can do. 17th right now on the intermediate tires, but when he comes across the line, what will it be for, I believe, the Australian driver? And
Yeah, he
we'll
is.
see what he can do when he crosses the line. Number 5 on his car, but what position will it be? It will be P6, only one off his car number. We have an Aston Martin crossing the line to start their lap. Is none other than Kiwi.
New driver to this league too. Kiwi.
Bit deep into turn 1, not exactly.
Oh yeah, lots of curb on the exit. Lots of curb on that exit. Hasn't destabilized him into turn 4, 5, and 6, and a lot of curb there. Though all of those curbs can mean the death penalty to your lap. Now, taking the right amount of curb for the entry into this fast again. Oh, and he's got a little wide, and that's an invalid. I don't think he'll have much time to go out. As Jeff 1 coming into the pits. He hasn't got much time to do a run, but if he does one, he will be bang on the pace. See now, traffic and pressure are going to be up exponentially here in Saudi Arabia. Most people are coming in, but some are coming out, like Snell, the former, I shall not say his old name, but he has renamed himself, at least for me, and and he's up in a third.
And talking about pressure, we see pressure for Logan PSQ, and he has slid off the corner and luckily recovered the car, but he has invalidated his lap with 2 minutes and 57 seconds to go in the session. So whether he has enough fuel is the question, and he needs to charge up
He
his battery.
doesn't.
It looks like he's pushing flat out though, so this could well be the position he finishes in qualifying.
This will probably be the position it finishes in at highest.
Unless he just goes for a flyer right now, which would not be very optimal. He's hit the wall a few times on his first flying lap, but will he go for another one?
He's not on a flyer. No.
Nope, into the pits he goes. And flying into the pits, one would say.
See, Sleek in his return to ZRL, taking good amounts of curb, not sliding off the top of that raised curb at turn 12. 32.3 in the first sector. Banking at turn 13. How does he carry the speed through? Lots of it, and then it's bang on the power. Once you're off the banking, and then it's this fast chicane. Fifth gear, good line, but a little bit too much curb, and I think it has slowed him down a tiny bit as he heads into the final portion of the circuit. 2 proper corners to go for the McLaren driver. 2 tenths up in the middle sector. Bit cautious to turn 22, but that's still fine as long as he's made it out of there. Means he is good, and now he's got 1 corner to navigate on these streets, and it is right down to 3rd gear, 120 kilometers an hour on the gas, and then it is going to be a short route to the line, and that will put him 10th.
Right now, that seems like he's living on the edge a little bit. We have his
I
teammate.
think the cutoff time could be whoever doesn't invalidate, really.
Yeah, and it could well be his teammate that knocks him out here. And currently 5/10 up is Rigraff in the McLaren on the soft tire. Previously set a lap on the medium tire, and now flying on the red wall tires. So as he goes through the fastest section of this track, longest flat out as it goes with a little bit of DRS on the side. We'll see what he gets as he goes through the Sector 2 checkpoint, and that's 7/10 up for the McLaren driver. This is looking to be a stellar lap, but where will it put him? Or can he keep it together is the question. Even Max Verstappen couldn't withstand the pressure in that one not fatal, but you know, the big decisive qualifying lap of the Jeddah Grand Prix in 2021, and going through the final corner does it just fine. So to the line it will be for Rigraff. And what will it be? Looks like it will be a 27, and it will be a 28
128 1-8. Only a hundredth off of beating Big Mama Frank.
So maybe
the both McLarens here are roughly on the same pace. About half a tenth of a second covering them. As we see Mack in the Ferrari. The second starting to the Scuderia. And then Wildsphere, he's about to end his lap. Let's see his middle sector. He can't mess it up here, or it will mean a back of grid start for this 25 lap race awaiting us. It is through turn 22. He doesn't mess it up this time as he heads through the final section of the course. Now, 1 corner, can he do it?
First if Wild Fury can get this lap done as he crosses the line now.
He has.
It's good for P8, so now it is up to none other than Mac and Jeff1 to decide which McLaren goes out, if they go out. So living on the edge here, it's all up to Jeff1 to knock out Mr. Sleek on his return to this league, but 4/10 up on a lap that's around a second off of where he needs to be to get through.
Won't be enough.
Really be able to do it. Unless
it'll be enough to get Kiwi, but that's going to be it.
Number 3 going through the final corner now. It would take a miracle, an absolute sensation of a final corner to get into Q2, and I don't think he's done it here as he crosses the line now, and it's P17.
He's out. He's out.
Sleek on his return to Zoom Racing League through to Q2 on the skin of his teeth.
Logan PSQ's mistake there, knocking him out of first qualifying. That is the pressure around the Saudi circuit. One small error could result in your qualifying being ruined. And a bit of a slight field spread compared to previous seasons. 2 seconds covering the whole grid, so it's much like real life F1, and not as tight as some other divisions were in the past, but that does mean more opportunities for slower drivers to join, and it won't be as pressurizing. Can you imagine if we had the Season 7 D2 field around this circuit, or the Season 7 D1 field, how tight that would be? It'd be incredible.
Absolutely. Something I think we should maybe focus on though is this time set by Simon Colston. 126.906. I think that was around D1 pace if I am not mistaken. So we could maybe see Simon back near the front of the field here. But he does have John Ranger for company. I remember him telling us that he would not be seeing us on the podium step in the podium
Well,
booth,
he might.
and he well might do so. So let's go through our order here. P1 goes to Simon Colston, followed by Ranger and Joel Guron, then T-Nell, then the two Williams, Dan and Spanini, then NVA Wild Fury, Mateo, combined YouTuber, Mac Avira, Big Mama Frank, Rigraff, Sleek, and then knocked out of Q1 are Logan PSQ, Jeff 1, and Kiwi.
And it's qualifying 1 here in Saudi Arabia. And it's going to be 15 minutes for the second round of qualifying at the 3.8 miles of the Jeddah Corniche circuit in, well, Jeddah, obviously. Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It is going to be time for one of the most pressurizing qualifying sessions of the season. Here we go. 15 minutes of second qualifying. 11th through 15th will be knocked out, and then we'll have a 10-car shootout for pole to determine who makes it and who doesn't make it.
Yeah, and I think in Q2 the ideal strategy would be to go on a set of used soft tires and then a set of new soft tires. That looks like what Spanini is doing right now. Then he's followed by a Haas. That's John Ranger, also on the same strategy. So I think that is what we can expect from the first runs of qualifying 2.
Let's take a bit of let's take you on a bit of a tour around the updates to the Jeddah Corniche circuit. There is now a grandstand at turn 4 with newer, sharper walls around the whole perimeter of the circuit. Another grandstand and another roller coaster, and then the curbs they were mentioned about in the first part. And now these new curbs are absolutely brutal. They're made out of steel, much like the material used in the real life Grand Prix, and they're also not very forgiving. And we have seen some nasty crashes in real life. We have seen some nasty crashes around this track, and it could be another if you go over those curbs too far.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the likes of Mick Schumacher on that steel curb of, I believe it's turn 11 or 12. Just, he got a bit too much over it, and it absolutely sent him in the wall, and I've figured it out for myself. It is definitely very possible to recreate that incident here in this game. So, be a bit careful with that curb. As you say, steel curbs, very slippery and very tall. So, our first hot lap of Q2 will be none other than John Ranger going through the final corner now.
We'll stay on board with him, and we'll see the Canadian driver make his way. A keeper pick for Haas this season, and he has been fast. See, into turn 1, lots of apex curb, and then switches to the right for 2. Straight line the exit as much as you can, running up to the barriers. And then it is time for the most challenging corner, turn 4. Wall sticks out, he hasn't hit it. Nearly flat through 5 until the downforce takes over, and this whole section easily flat out. A bit of a lift to turn 8, and then into 9 and 10, and then into the Mick Schumacher corner. Not a lot of curb there. Into turn 12, and then now banging it into turn 13. A 32.2 in the first sector. It is now time for the toughest part of the circuit here. 14, flat to the right, and then it's this lazily to the left for a bit before breaking through this kink into turn 16. A little bit wide of the apex, but it's not his final run yet, unless he absolutely trashes the car at some point later. And then now he's got turn 22, the toughest corner on the circuit, braking very little. And then it's straight down in 5th or 6th gear, lots of curb. He's somehow survived that affair with the curbs. And now it's time for the exit of the final corner that could punish him for oversteer. Braking as close to the wall, and then running as close to the entry, and then back over as close to the barrier as he can as the curb moves a little bit off the racing line. And it's up to the line of 1 minute 28.014 as Dan is invalid on his run.
Yes, his teammates Benini goes P1 by around half a tenth, and then it will be the Red Bull of, I believe this is Big Mama Frank coming across the line. No, it's Avir just starting a lap, my mistake. And then it's Joel Guron to go P1 in the Mercedes
6
by
tenths.
6 tenths. What a
That's
performance
a lot
from the Mercedes driver. And then NVA in the Aston Martin goes P4. Let's look to see who else we have.
We have pretty much everyone on a lap, actually. Snell, Mateo, combined YouTuber is on a lap, but I think he's made a mistake somewhere by judging how slow it is, and he's not turned on the ERS at all.
Mateo's the next one to cross the line for a hot lap, and what will it be for the Mercedes driver? Can he put up next to his teammate? He can put it better than his teammate. Great job.
It's a Mercedes 1-2 as Tunnel goes P2. I think the times are tumbling here in Saudi Arabia. Times are tumbling.
And we have a Red Bull crossing the line here. It is Big Mom Frank. He's actually going to go into the pits, and then next it will be John Ranger, who I think is also going to come into the pits. So
yep, into the pits he is.
Then it'll be, I believe, the Red Bull of Avira. So let's go on board.
Then it's combined YouTuber on another laps. I think he probably decided to do 2 out laps to conserve the tires a little. A bit of a cautious one, but it's his first turn. Oh, almost on that slippery curb. Thankfully, it hasn't taken him out. 32.5 in the first sector. And those tires are slightly more used compared to other drivers, as we see him list to the...
Yeah, and okay, clearing Rigraph into the pits. Then we have Wild Fury right now going across the line, not going into the pits for what seems like forever, and now P8 for Wild Fury. I believe that's on new tires though. So we continue, go to his Ferrari teammate who's into the pits. We'll go with Mateo, who I am assuming is into the pits because that is just how it is. Sleek also into the pits. Great. We have combined YouTuber.
Let's say combined YouTuber.
Pits. Not into the pits, but into P9.
128.4.
Not too shabby.
My game is... The game hates it now. I have too much stuff running in here.
And we are back into the little session of Q2 where, you know, we just wait for the drivers to do their next lap. I believe Dan, though, is about to start his hot lap. So how about you take us through a set of new soft tires for the Williams, and he's ready to go here. Take us through it.
Dan starts his lap and braking at 100 meters for a tight left-right chicane. The second part is deceptively tight before it's a straight line exit into turn 4. That wall sticks out, and you have to be a bit close. You have to be as close to it as possible. And the theme of these S's is carrying as much speed without hitting the wall or taking too much curb. Let's see here. Dan. Oh, and he's taking a little too much, but it hasn't upset him enough. Trying to get the slipstream off the Haas of Ranger. And now Dan heads into the banking. Full throttle as early as he can before the fastest part of the track here. This fast chicane. Very close to the wall. 5th gear, and then it's carrying as much speed as... Oh, and he's hit the wall hard out of turn 17. Now it's 18, 19, and 20, and 21. These are very fast kinks that Don't require much in the way of effort. He hasn't lost any time. And that's a
the
purple to
curb
the
and
middle
invalid.
sector, but he's gone invalid. And he's going to back off immediately.
Just shakes it up a bit for the Williams driver, who was on his first run of the qualifying session, but will definitely need to go on another one if he wants to get into Q1. Just check out who else is on the lap. We have Simon Carlson going through the flat-out section that is the second sector, and just crossing it now, 1 minute 167. It shows purple on the track as he hits a wall on the inside, I believe, just a little bit.
Slight graze of the wall, but it doesn't cost him much as one corner remains. Is now up to the line for the Alfa Romeo team principal. A second season at the job. And it's up to the line for him, a 1:28, a 1 minute 27.3. He's the first man to be within 3 tenths of Matteo, who has absolutely smashed the field out here. Absolutely smashing the field. That is amazing from the Mercedes driver.
Let's see who else we have on the lap here. Sleek is about to start one, and Big Mama Frank is actually someone who's looking to put in a lap, his first lap of this session. 5 minutes ago goes very wide,
he's on
very wide of that.
He's lost easily 2-3 tenths there. That's the dangers of this circuit. You make one tiny error, that's 4 tenths.
He will continue on though. I don't think there's any reason to not finish this lap.
No.
Going wide again a little bit, but not too much.
Doesn't cost him much time. And now 1 corner to go.
Final corner, good on the power on the X at 30% battery remaining, but using the DRS now to get to the line as fast as he can. Big Mama Frank is going to go P8 in the Red Bull.
In the 8th, and let's see Ranger. He is the first man, I think, to go under a minute in the middle sector split up to the line, and he is the first man into the 1 minute 26s.
But will he be the last one? Simon Colston actually into the pits, but we did see another 26 earlier in Q1. And I think we could well see one from the likes of Matteo, who I might have just seen hit the wall on his outlap. But by all means, continue. We have Sleek on a lap, actually. So here we go. 6 tenths up right now.
He's got 1 corner. This one is challenging for him. A hairpin left. Hard on the stop pedal. Down to 3rd gear, and then it's straight on the gas as fast as possible. Before he takes a slightly longer route to the line than others. Up to the line, he goes in a P6.
Not too far off where he'd like to be, so maybe not safe in the position he's at right now, but enough time to get back into the pits and out for another one.
Does he? Let's see. I don't quite think he's got enough now.
It's around.
That's going to be his last run.
I'm not sure. I think, well, the caution is really blocking my view of the time, thanks to
3 minute 33 as we speak.
I think he may well be able to get it, but it'll be very, very close.
He'll just have to cut every corner and then he'll make it.
I have been guilty of that before. So Matteo about to cross the line to start his lap. Ranger,
the child prodigy, as he begins.
Ranger may be out of fuel. I think that is what's going on.
He's just got enough. He's got just enough fuel to make it to the pit lane.
And here comes Joel Grund to finish his lap here, and it goes P2 taking the place of his teammate, but with Matteo on a fast lap, I think Matteo could well take it back here.
Both Mercedes cars are incredibly fast, just like they were in D1. A very, very strong lineup of drivers who are absolutely no joke. Matteo, 2 tenths down, and I think he's backed off. He's backed off.
Yeah, he went very wide into turn 9, so enough reason to stop his lap there, but I think what he's going to try and do is recharge his battery, not use his tires super much, and then go for another one right after this. But we have plenty of other drivers coming out now, so we'll see what we can do.
I don't quite think he's got enough fuel, but if he does and he has enough battery, then that should be pretty good for him, considering the backing off he's been doing.
See who else we have lining up for the contention of Q3 here. Tinel about to start his lap. I think he could well make it through. Let's keep looking though. We have the two Williams who are about to start their
They're
lap
Alpine.
sooner or later.
It's a very early shift up in the fourth that will lose him about a couple hundredths as he heads into turn 4. And it's almost flat on the gas to turn 5 and 6. Black through 7 and 8, and then into 9 and 10. This whole section here requiring absolute precision. A little bit too much curb and a bit of a mistimed downshift aside. He is almost equal in his time, half a tenth to make for the next half a lap of the circuit. And that's a huge slide, and I think that's lap over. He has hit the wall out of turn 13, and he has hit the wall.
And with the time that we have left in the session, he could maybe, if he has the fuel, get another lap in, but whether he needs it or not, it's really up to him. But we have Dan, who definitely needs the lap here. He's just going through turns 1, 2 now, about to head into 3, so let's see what he can do here. P14,
fifth gear, and then
whatsoever.
And then it's going to be holding good steering precision for this whole section before slight lift into another fast chicane. Not as much curb on this occasion. Good for sector 31.904. Let's see Mateo retires from the session.
And with him being P3, I think he could be well safe. So into the fast right-left here for Dan. Looking a pretty tidy lap so far, but we'll see if he crumbles under the pressure.
He
of this
heads
next lap.
into. He's got a couple of extra corners to make. 2 more remaining, and it's into turn 22. Oh, and I think he's gone wide. He's gone wide. He hasn't spun, but he's gone wide.
Will that be enough to stop him from getting to Q3? We will see.
That
So
will
one
be a
more
couple
corner
of
to
tenths
go.
lost, but I don't think it'll be enough to get him to. I don't think that'll be enough to stop him from getting into Q3. Up to the line for the Williams team principal it is, and that should be easily into the next part of qualifying. Yes, it is. A 127.097.
Spanini, his teammate, hasn't validated, so he will not improve.
He's
Combined
in a
YouTuber
bit of
does, though.
danger, Spanini. Combined YouTuber getting into Q3. And Tnell,
Rig Ref P7.
Big Mama. That's good from the McLarens. Oh, that's down to P8 as Walter gets his lap done.
Spanini into the pit, so he's done. He's out of qualifying. Then Avira, the second of the Red Bulls to come across the line, will be very soon, but it's only the 2 Red Bulls left in qualifying here. So it will be up to Avira.
Down in the
and
middle
the
sector. He's down in the middle sector by about 200ths of a second. This could be game on for either Combined YouTuber or Sleek in the other McLaren. Let's see. It's 2 Red Bulls. Big Mama Frank up to the line. He's got a short straight now. Where will that put him up to the line? That'll be 11th. He won't make it. Now it's just 1 car remaining for Sleek, and he will make it. Both Red Bulls have been knocked out in the second round of qualifying here in Saudi Arabia.
Well, that is one big shock for the top team leading into this Division 2 season. Both cars out in Q2. So they will be starting from P11 and 12, so they will have many positions to make up here. McLaren, both cars make it in, as well as Mercedes. And those are the only 2 teams who have actually had both cars in. So, bit of a shock for McLaren, and I'm saying that as someone who is very biased towards them, but I'm very proud of them. And then, but most importantly, Ranger setting, I think, a time that is very, very close to the best Q1 time we had. So, I don't know if these times are like actually representative, because I think there's more in the tank for a lot of these drivers. The 2 Mercedes very close. I mean, from P2 to P5, all within 1/10. That is how close it is here in Division 2 tonight. And now,
There is a bit of a field spread around this circuit, and it is noticeable. It is much harder than before, with curbs that bite hard. So we will see who. And now 10 cars remain from whoever gets pole position here in Saudi Arabia. And Nathan, who do you think it'll be?
Well, let's see. I mean, based off previous pace, the key answer would be John Ranger, but I have my toonie on Mateo. I think he could really impress us tonight, and already we have the Williams of Dan on used tires out in the track.
It is now Dan out, the first man on the circuit, and it is also It's also Sleek out onto the track.
And I have to say, from coming back to full-time racing after many seasons apart, I must commend the McLaren driver. And also because
full-time return in ZRL, and he's already into Q2, into the final part of qualifying, actually. That is very solid for the McLaren man.
And hopefully it's not one of those sessions where we see a surprise Q3 entry and then it just all tumbles away, maybe due to a crash and validation. But
me in D1 last night was just that.
Yep, it can happen to any driver, so let's...
Yeah, bad races happen to everyone, to be fair. No one is immune to having the odd bad race here and there.
Not even Yarno Hoppier.
Yeah, not even him. Even he's not immune.
Yeah, alright, let's see here. Is Rigraff on new tires? No. Is Sleek on new tires? No. So let's go on board with Dan
almost
here.
no one.
Yeah, the first lap will be completed by the Williams driver. So take us through it.
Let's see. 27 corners, 3.8 miles, and it's an on-board lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Now, Dan, the man who is leading the Q1 train, into turn 1 he goes. Down to it's down to third gear. Lots of curb out of turn 2. It could upset the balance of the car a little bit. And now into turn 4. This corner has... Oh, and he's crashed it! I mentioned it in Q1, and he has put it in the wall. I said it earlier this session. That wall sticks out, and it has claimed its first victim in D2. It claimed Marc-Olivier Bastien in D1. It claimed Nathan Doan, and who else? And I think it claimed Freddie Rizal. It's already claimed its first victim in qualifying for D2. That's how much that wall sticks out.
Well, that is something that definitely will stick out in this qualifying session as much as the wall itself does. So who else do we have on a lap who hasn't hit a wall yet?
Ranger has gone purple to the first sector as the Mercedes cars are taking their sweet, sweet time. You see, it's a little bit cautious, but these runs are all to build confidence for that final all-out attack run on the Saudi circuit. Now Ranger,
being pretty cautious.
Yeah, it could probably be a used tire on as well.
Yeah, I think
you don't want to push too
afford
hard
to be
and
cautious as well. Sleek goes P1 with a 128.162.
temporarily P1.
And Mateo just starting his lap. So John Ranger, we'll see if he can offset Sleek from P1. I think he well could do so, and we will see if he crosses the line to go P1. And well, of course he does. Then on board with the Alpine, also about to finish at the lap. Team L coming across the line right now. It will be a
127.0.
Maybe on new tires, but if not, then
that has to be a new tire on, yeah.
Yeah, and then Rigraff coming across the line now. He's gonna be behind. No,
P2.
He's gonna be behind Tino. So, wow, 1 millisecond in front of John Ranger.
Equal, actually. They're equal.
On my screen,
on time,
it shows 817 and 818.
On fastest lap, they are 1 millisecond apart. On the gap to the leader, they are exactly on time. Combined YouTuber in P4.
Well, I don't even know the unit that's below millisecond, but that is what they're split by.
It is a 1997 European Grand Prix once again. Can we have that for the first race of the season, please? 3 drivers on equal time.
And Joel Grahn about to go across the line. He's maybe going to get a bit of a tow. I don't think so, but he's going to come across the line now. DRS wide open as the black car shines through the night and crosses the line to go P2. It's a 1:27.256. Whether that was on new tires, I don't know. Mateo.
He isn't the next victim of turn 11, and he's gone purple to the first sector by an absolute mile. 31.75. And then it is turn 13. A good line there. No mistakes, and there is a slow car in the way, which is Rigraff. He's parked up to the side of the track, and he's just not blocking anyone. Same with Wild Fury. He's getting ready to not block people. Blocking is a punishable offense, remember, in Zoom Racing League. The track is one of the worst for that. Turn 22. See, taking a lot of curb. He has done it nicely. He's now up to the line for the Mercedes driver. Car number 3.
Simon nailing the first lap, but can Mateo dethrone him from P1? That will be the question. Very close to the wall on the exit of the final corner. Now DRS wide open, and he's going across the line now.
Short
it will be
line.
P2.
Ooh, half a tenth. Half a tenth.
Now don't we have something cooking here? And he almost throws it into the inside wall of turn 1, but it is what it is. So maybe one more run for all of these drivers here, and that will be the final lap of qualifying. So let's take a look at our current grid so far. Simon Collison with a 1:26.807. He's definitely under threat from the Mercedes of Mateo, but my question is, maybe could we have a surprise from further down the grid? Maybe such as John Ranger. I mean, we know he has pace, but it will really be down to whether he can hold it together for the final lap. We have a McLaren about to come out. It's sleek.
Very early.
Yeah, very
early.
Maybe just wants a clear track, but with actually, let me check this real quick. This will be crucial. Alright, so with Major in the engineering booth, I'm not too sure whether that was intentional strategy. I don't know if they're actually in communication right now, but we move. Who do we have? Simon Colston into the pits. Mateo will also be into the pits, so it is all eyes on Sleek. So, to recap, Sleek's qualifying so far started as a very, very fresh face, or at least a renewed face in Zoom Racing League, back into Division 2, made it into Q3 on his debut. So, it's all about what he can do on this final lap, and whether he can make a name for himself in this qualifying session alone.
Or will he be turn 4's next victim? We have, hopefully not, but we'll see who it is. If it isn't it. If that left-hander takes a victim.
And here we go. I'll take us through this one because it is my very own driver. New tires.
Go ahead.
It's going to be around 125 to 100 meters of braking. Does it perfectly. The second gear, missing a bit of the curb, but it is okay. He keeps good throttle through turns 1 and 2. Now down to turn 4. We'll see if he is claimed a victim, and
nope,
he is not. So keeps it very nice and tidy, maybe even a bit cautious. But through this tricky left section, he could mess it up all right here. But he keeps it very nice, close to the wall, not getting too much curb on the exit. He has nailed that first sector, very, very tidy, and he's up 4/10. So this could put him P5 right now, given that he doesn't prove anymore, but hopefully he does. Fifth gear out of turn, I believe it's 12, doing very good on the power, and now going through this tricky right-left chicane, he could mess it up all here, but that's just how the circuit is. Keeps it very nicely, well done to the McLaren driver, now flat out through the section. But even though it's flat out, that doesn't mean that your line can't compromise your time. So he's going to come across the line to finish sector 2. He's 6/10 up. This is only getting better for the McLaren driver, and he has one more corner to go. Pretty much nailed that left-right section. So this is the final corner. Could it be a Max Verstappen moment for the McLaren driver? We will see. As he brakes nicely, gets on the throttle, down to second gear, onto the throttle now, keeping it very far away from the wall. And now down to the line, DRS wide open, coming across the line. It's going to be a 1:27.183
P4.
P4.
That's
Great
a solid lap for the McLaren driver, and we have the final runs here in Saudi Arabia, and this could be chaotic. It will be pressure. It will be game on for these drivers. It will be pressure on, and this track has the ability to absolutely ruin your lap. It has the ability to give you the greatest lap you've ever seen. Whoever pushes those walls, whoever takes the highest risk will be the one. Whoever has the biggest, whoever has balls made of steel will be the man on pole position for this race.
And look who we have to start it all off. Who else would it be? It's John Ranger.
It would be Ranger.
Going to start his lap. So if you want to take us through it, or if we want to just go over all these drivers,
let's
we have
go.
plenty to cover here. Let's go.
27 corners here in Saudi Arabia. 3.8 miles for John Ranger, and he is full on the gas by the time he heads into the first corner. It is a tight left-right chicane, 100 meters, and then it's down to third gear. Cut the first part. Don't cut the second. That curb is waiting. It's flat out on the exit of turn 3, and then it's going to be turn 4. That wall is waiting. He's a little bit cautious, and that served him well. Turn 5 is easy, flat in qualifying, and then it's 6, 7, 8, and 9. No Mick Schumacher moment. Mick Schumacher corner is awaiting, and he has done just that. He almost done just that.
And improves
Saved
by 8
it out of the
tenths.
wall. He's up by nearly a second, down to 4th for turn 13. Lots of throttle here. Just wait for the car to straighten out, and then we've got a short straight into 14 and 15. And then turn 16. A little bit wide of the apex again. Doesn't serve him too badly. A little bit too much curb to 16, so it isn't perfect at all, but we'll see. Qualifying 3 is over here in Saudi Arabia, and it is now game on. 9 tenths up in the middle sector. Will this be the miracle final sector for John Ranger? That miracle he's been waiting for. He has got one corner to go. He has topped Q2. Can he put it on pole for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? Turn 27. Lots of throttle, lots of curb, and he should be on for at least P2 here. Up to the line for the Haas driver, and it is. That's pole by a tenth of a second.
Then T-Nell going across the line. What kind of time? 26.669, and it's going to be only a 26.8854 for
2 tenths off pole, and Mateo, a combined YouTuber, goes in a P5. And now
it's going to be good for P8. And then we have Wild Fury across the line. Now it's going to be good for P5. Good work from him. And then next across the line will be the first Mercedes of Joel Grun. Whether he can put in a pole performance lap, I don't know. But his teammate behind him may well be able to do so. So across the line for Joel Grun, it will be P2.
Ooh.
And then for Mateo, it's going to be...
Mateo, he hasn't improved. He's P4.
Yeah, P4 may have been in validation, but I'm not sure. So, wow, that's definitely a good qualifying session. We have none other than John Ranger, who was the first to set a lap and the first to how do I say this? He's first
to the finish.
Yeah, he's first to the finish.
First to finish. First in qualifying. Our pole setter for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here in Jeddah before 25 laps await our drivers on this dangerous, on this thrilling, on this chaotic 3.8 mile, 6.1 kilometer circuit. We can't wait for Division 2 season to kick off in the desert in a very, very short amount of time.
So, I mean, here we go. Anything can happen into turn 1. So, any of these drivers, they could be in a completely different position to where they were when we see them now. So, we can only see. We wait for the lights. Will be a good little bit. No T-posing mechanics, but we do have the nice and shining lights of the Jeddah pit straight. See some enthusiastic fans, and they are just about as enthusiastic as us to get this race underway. So without warning, soon enough we will be thrown into the lights, but let's talk strategy real quick. You said it could be soft to medium or medium soft. You stay with that, or do you think maybe it's changed?
It could be anything, really. The safety car could absolutely put strategies in the bin. It's really going to be a game of luck to whoever does the strategy right, because there's so much
Here we
potential
go.
for a safety car.
All right, so
25 laps ahead of our drivers. It is lights out. And away we go for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Good start from Ranger, from Paul. It's a good start from Matteo as well, as they head into that tight chicane. Watch out for Dan in the turn one. Oh, and he spun already. And no, and already spun. Dan is at the back of the field. On the hards, Kiwi. Logan on the softs has disconnected from the Grand Prix. As Sleek and Big Mama Frank are somehow fighting side by side in the S's. They really are risking it on this opening lap of the season. But they have done beautifully. And Sleek almost up on that curb of death.
This absolutely could have been straight on from that corner, but he might even try a charge on the Red Bull driver. He doesn't do so. Let's check out the tires real quick. Let's see if it's just in accordance. It's mediums and hards only. No soft tire starters other than Logan PSQ. So very close through the sector 1, but will they be close through any other part of the lap? We will see. They actually had a bit of a collision into turns 1 and 2. So hopefully we don't see any more of those through the rest of the lap. And the two Mercedes swapping positions now. Matteo hopping up into P2, Joel Grant going into P3, but right in front of Simon Colston. So these two hard tire runners, they're going to want to either preserve their position together or just completely duke it out. We will see T-Nell looking very close to the back of the Alfa Romeo, but I don't think he'll go for a move here. No, he just
He isn't
going to
go for it. Combined YouTuber. Very late on the brakes of that final hairpin.
But even closer now is T-Nell, so he may go for an overtake here on the pit straight. And the Alfa Romeo just slightly pulling away from him. The Mercedes may even swap positions, but they don't. They stay positioned. Let's look in the back of the field here. We have Max swapping positions with Avira, and he will have that move.
Oh, down the outside of Avira. Down the outside. It turns to the outside for the Ferrari. Good racing. And now I think one of them will have to back off here, and Mac defends a position.
Great defending from the Ferrari driver and a great initial overtake. I can commend the bravery from Avira though, so that battle will continue from some time on. We see the pack split up into two DRS trains, and right now, hopefully, those will continue and not break up so much so we have action. Let's look at Big Mama Frank here. He's 2/10 right behind the McLaren, and he's also in a McLaren sandwich. So we'll see if these two McLarens will try and work together. But look how close the Red Bull is out of that turn, and now he's got the longest kind of straight section here. Will he be able to make an overtake? It doesn't look like he'll even try.
It isn't going to be safe if he goes into side by side, so he's taking the mature decision, and there's a straight wetting. He's going to blast through. Overtake button, overspeed, and a bit of a toe. He's going to absolutely blast past the McLaren as Simon Colson and Tnell fighting side by side into the final corner. Combined YouTuber is also in the mix here. We will see. Could this be a podium for the Australian? He hasn't gotten one in absolutely forever. Over a year without a podium. Could it happen? And I think he's been tapped a little bit by his old teammate. Still in the train. Yeah, he's still in there, but
just a bit further back.
Yeah, he's just tapped the wall a little bit in a turn 4. It hasn't resulted in damage, but
Sleek and overtaken by Spanini in a position you don't really see overtaking happening. And now
Sleek, he's gone wide.
Staying on
he's
the
off the rear of the car.
Losing a position though. So
multiple
now
places.
And that is just how deadly these curbs can be, but luckily the pack seem to close up a little bit, so he will remain in this little DRS train that we have here. Actually, Spanini and Rigraff are just a bit too far behind, so we will see if that continues.
Spanini is in a really bad position, actually, but now he's been saved, as Rigraff is the one in a bad position. 3 long straights to punish Rigraff for not being fast enough, I guess, to catch up to the train.
And we'll see if any moves are made into the final corner of this lap. I think most likely it could be Simon Colston, or does he try and play the DRS chicken game? Here we go.
As he's going to play the chicken game.
Almost goes around the outside down the inside, sorry, and now he will continue into turn 1. A bit of a moment for T-Nell.
Snell with a bad exit.
And now combined YouTuber,
Combined
all over
YouTuber.
him. But firstly, we have
With
Simon Carlson going around the outside. He'll have that move well done before the end of the straight, but now we look back to combined YouTuber. Does he make a move? No, he doesn't.
He's backed off.
Yeah, Simon Carlson making it past the first Mercedes and now has 1.8 seconds in front of him.
We'll now see who. Now, as we head into lap 4, that safe. The Ranger and Mateo have absolutely run away from the field here. Ranger has done a Sebastian Vettel 2011, and he has gone off into the distance. That should be a clear win for the Haas driver, but there is something starting with a W and an S that could cause that, and those are walls and safety cars that could absolutely destroy his race. It's never over on these streets until the checkered flag, until a car has crossed a checkered flag. That's when you know you've won the race around here.
You can't forget the things that start with CNC, and that is the commentator's curse. So hopefully you didn't cast one, and he's already lost 210 since you said that. So careful with your words, but it looks like we might have Sleek on the back of NVA, who's in a McLaren sandwich, and he might try to.
Oh, this is gonna be. This is gonna end in tears here. Into 22, Rigraff forced to cut the corner.
And now
it's
that's
gonna be
kind of
scary.
Ooh, this is gonna be tight. Around the outside goes
NVA.
NVA.
Very, very scary.
But look at Sleek. He's gonna try to go around the outside of the Aston Martin that overtook his teammate, and he's gonna keep his line and going a bit wide now. He's got a Ferrari on the inside, and so now we look at Mac, who may well overtake this Aston Martin.
NVA has absolutely zero battery.
Sleek
Mac
goes through.
into Mac. Oh, and the positions all stay good.
Yeah, and now Avira is going to try around the outside of Rigraff, but doesn't have the traction to stick it around. And a good move and very opportunistic from Mac in the Ferrari.
You just see the different approaches people take with turn 4. That wall is an absolute race ender if he hit it, and Rigraff taking it very, very cautious, as I think NVA could have been cutting turn 10 a little bit. And 11, we'll see where that goes, remember?
Yeah, track limit penalties are definitely not something that are rare here. So
not at all.
Yeah, we may see many penalties. As that's Sleek, who's around.
Ooh.
I believe that's turn 13-14, but no damage for the McLaren, so he will continue. But just losing the rear end on the exit of turn 14, I believe, and paying the price for it.
It's 17, but that curve is race ending. As combined YouTuber is overtaken by his former teammate Wild Fury. The 3 wide heading into the final corner. Snell is going to have the run of his life here. He's got a lot of battery, but that Mercedes of Joel Guron could have one as well. 28, 52, 47. That's a battery. They're going to be 3 wide into turn 1 once again. It's 3 wide for the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri. And Big Mo, combined and BMF almost make contact into turn 1. A little bit of contact, but all fair and square in the end. This track, as narrow as it is, as tight as it is, and as dangerous as it is producing some of the best racing I have seen from D2 in a long, long time. And we have another car off.
Another car. Who is that?
That's NVA. NVA. He's dropped to the back.
Small moment for the driver. Now he's dropped out of the DRS completely. So
he's dropped to second last.
Ooh, we have Sleek on the hard tires now, pitting initially. I don't know if that was for damage, but I couldn't see any.
Pitting very early. I think he's just going to try and get an undercut done because he's going to try getting an undercut because there's not much that could possibly save it at this point for him. The field is sort of separating itself a little bit.
Yeah, last lap we had Simon Carlson under attack from 2 drivers, and now it seems to have calmed down a little bit, but no battery for the Alfa Romeo. And so maybe we see a move from the Alpine of T-Nell. The 2 hard tire runners could well be in a battle here. And they've caught up to Mateo just a little bit. So 4/10 the gap, good drive from T-Nell, and now he'll have the battery advantage and the DRS advantage going into turn 1, but seems a bit far back. Simon definitely dumping his battery to stay ahead, and he has executed that perfectly. And we have an AlphaTauri of Jeff 1 who's around in the final corner. No damage for him, and he will continue on.
Going has been
go ahead.
spun around, and we might have to add someone here.
Yeah, I can't imagine who that would be, given that we had no one else racing.
Oh, and we have to spun again. And that's just overheating, I think, absolutely ending it.
Has he made
The thing
contact, or is Logan disconnected? That's who. Okay.
Logan is disconnected, yes, but Jeff 1 has spun twice in a matter of about 45 seconds. That surely can't be good. I think Sleek is just coming in to retire, or he's hit another wall. I think he might have hit another wall.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
He's dropping to 3/4 of a lap behind now. This is a disaster of a race for him. As we brought up more with the race leader. Oh, and that's Jeff 1 once again, and I think those mediums are
cooking right now. Definitely cooking, but Simon Colston into the DRS now. That is going to help him immensely in his fight against T-Nell. So unless T-Nell pulls some heroics like Wildfear will, and actually combined YouTubers throwing it down the inside of Big Mama Frank.
Bit of impatience.
Contact, and now
both of them don't have much battery. And now he's going to have the chance into turn 1. Should be a straightforward overtake with a substream of the cars ahead.
Ooh.
Is it? Not quite. Not quite. He's gone around the outside of turn 1. That's a beautiful move from the AlphaTauri driver. But it's gonna... No, Big Mama Frank is not gonna have much of a chance.
And I feel like Joel Grahn may have just been trying to get past Wild Fury and then having to lift off very suddenly because a bit of a late move from the Ferrari. But the battle continues, and now it's starting to string out all the way from the P2. So maybe the medium tires of Matteo are just falling off a little bit, and that's allowing Simon Colston to get through. But as I say that, losing a bit of time is Simon Colston. So
he's actually gained a bit. He's actually gaining, but Matteo's going to have a good run here. Will Simon have it? DRS is out. I think he might have just missed it.
By 2 milliseconds is the gap that I saw, and now he's back into it.
He has missed it.
And
he has missed it. That's crazy by how little he's missed it into that corner. But now Simon hasn't missed it.
So that will keep him alive against his fight with T-Nell, and that's really helping his race here because without the DRS, I have a feeling that he would well be overtaken by T-Nell, and then he would have to follow the Alpine along. But no, he's got a medium tire runner he can use as a bit of a buffer between him, especially if he could overtake him very soon here.
This could turn into an interesting race out here for the back. For some people, combined YouTuber is out of DRS. He's lost touch with the leaders, and he's completely lost touch with the leaders, actually. He's lost touch in that train. But it is a bit of a split now. It's Matteo, Simon, and Snell, and then Wildfury and Joel, and they combined in Big Mama Frank, and then it's just trains of 2 or 3 holding station.
Exactly, and let's look at now Simon Colston, because I think this is the best chance of an overtake we'll see in
Dan has gone out wide onto the curbs, and that has absolutely ruined it. Not been a good race since that Q3 crash for the Williams team principal. It just hasn't.
But it's not over yet. So the hard tire runners will start to feel a bit of an advantage with the grip. Maybe that didn't happen for Dan, but I think it's going to happen for Simon Colston here. 5/10 right now, way better grip through that little section, and we can just tell
the grip is the same, I think.
No, I don't think so. As we'll see them go through the final corner, and look how close they are. Not even on the DRS is Simon Colston right now, and he's right there.
Watch out for Snell here. He's going to get it. He's tapped Simon a little bit. No damage to either car, but
here we go.
That is close.
Run down into turn 1. DRS on for Simon Colston again, but it just doesn't look like he has the want to make this overtake happen. I can't see why, honestly. I mean, think about it. If you're this close, you have the tire advantage by now. But
yeah, you've got to have it. Or Matteo's probably just conserving, I think. So he probably has plans of going long in this race.
Exactly. So I mean, I guess what this does is it keeps T&L behind, but it keeps Ranger very far ahead. We see that now. with 4.1 seconds being the gap from Ranger to Mateo. So the man who said that we may well not see him in this podium booth, I think we could well see him at the very end as a winner.
Might be a commentator's curse, I think.
Well,
The blind YouTuber has got into the DRS, I think. Off Simon Colston, he is leading that train. Whoever gets the biggest undercut will have the biggest chance to, well, stay ahead. And combined YouTuber, as usual, almost running out of battery. That's a problem with him that he's had for a while, and it's just something he hasn't got around to fixing.
Here goes Simon around the outside of Mateo in the final corner, as well as T-Nell.
Watch out for
who's
T-Nell.
getting forced a bit wide and sliding
Joe
out of
Guron.
the final corner. So Mateo will be under.
Mateo's
Actually, he's
pitting.
going into the pits, and so that makes it easier for T-Nell, and now that gives Simon Colston a bit more of a headache. And now Joel Guron and Wild Fury, I mean, they're in this train now, so they could even maybe extend if they just stay in this train. But Mateo, very early into the pits, and he was honestly in a position where I would have stayed out and tried and, you know, take the advantage of the hard tires with me, but he decides differently. As going wide goes Simon Colston, and he's made that
gone
mistake
wide,
with
yeah.
the curb once
He's
again.
had
Now
a
he's gonna
terrible
lose his
rejoin, and
position.
that's position's lost. T-Nell has put himself up into second. I don't know why, Mike.
Well, from being behind one Mercedes to being behind the other, that is not a very ideal situation for Simon Colston, especially since he's up against the only hard tire runner, and now he is one car away from him. He's going to have to make up this position rather quick, or just hope that Joel pits, and that's all he can really do. And now 5.4 seconds the gap between Ranger and T-Nell. Whoa, as T-Nell desinks, he's going back
Heavy
positions
desync.
now.
Heavy desync for the Alpine, and a combined YouTuber not seemingly wasting much time.
As
Dive bomb as
goes into the
Ranger
pits.
into the pit lane. Joel Guron into the pit lane. Simon Colston into the pit lane. Wild
T-Nell
Fury
stays out.
staying out. T-Nell staying out too. So everyone is coming in.
Interesting that Simon Colston from the hard tires would pit here, and surely that's onto the medium tires, is it? Yep, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I would have stayed out, honestly, on the hard tires. I love the hard tires on this track, and
They're terrible. They were absolutely tragic yesterday in D1, for me at least, but
maybe your setup was just dookie. But here we go. Mateo indeed staying ahead of his teammate. And so
and now it's going to be the lap that could decide the race here for Wild Fury, Snell, and combined YouTuber. They're the three people that have chosen to stay out in this leading train. And they could easily lose this train. Doesn't matter how much DRS you've got, but the tire advantage here is absolutely brutal. You bought on a set of fresh boots and you're out. You're going to have to pit.
Yep. So plenty of these drivers have not pit yet, and that's going to affect only the people like Mateo who are about to close up to these two Aston Martins here. And if these two Aston Martins stay out, then it's only going to get worse for Mateo. Wild Fury getting overtaken by T-Nell, and so we'll see if either of them come into the pits. It may be a box opposite situation. It looks like they're both going to head into the pits.
Comes in.
Actually, Wild Fury stays
Snell
out.
and
Combined stays out.
Snell is in, sliding his way. And let's see the other Ferrari. I think Wild Fury and combined here might be on for that soft medium reverse option, and I don't blame them for trying it, to be honest. But they will lose time through this overcut. They will get undercut by many people, but it'll all be down to the pace of the fresh softs. Mateo has lost tons of time. He's stuck behind the two Aston Martins, and they're just holding him up at this point.
And he'll come out in front of T-Nell, but yes, as you say, still behind these two Aston Martins, but only behind one now as he makes a move on Kiwi. So with Simon Colston behind him, now stuck behind this Aston Martin, that was a good move to make. And we'll see if Simon can follow him through here. Look at the grip difference between them as actually Kiwi goes off. So, I mean, there's Simon. That's exactly what Simon needed. And now going around the outside of what is this? NVA will go Mateo around the outside, and there he goes. Very good move, but now Simon Colston is going to follow him through, and he may even overtake the Mercedes here. He has to lift off to not do so. And somewhere in between that, he's gone off, actually. He's gone off, has Simon Colston off the track.
Another off for Simon Colston. Another off.
Now there's going to be a bit of chaos in the back with T-Nell and NVA just making up positions. Looked like they could have been very, very nasty out of turn 17, but it has stayed how it is. And Simon going off again, going wide, and that's compromised his run on Mateo, but will he try
He's going to have it. He's
move?
going to get it into T1 if he doesn't get it here. It's just going to be cake.
And he may well
chicken
get it here
games.
as well. As
He is going to get it. Mateo's let him through. Terrible timing. As Ranger sets the fastest. Yeah, terrible timing from Simon. Mateo might not have much battery, but he has taken the lead of this Grand Prix. Or second place, I mean. As Mateo absolutely fires it up the inside. That switchback has been not quite caught, but Simon has a little bit of a slide out of second. Light bits of contact. This could invite Joel Guron for a move. It hasn't.
No, that would have been sensational from Joel if it had invited a move, and could have well ended both of the drivers' races. But just look at the grip difference that Simon, the advantage that Simon has is just absolutely crazy. It's almost exactly the same as the old hard tire runner that we saw him overtake last time, and he's gonna blast past the Mercedes here, and now Mateo will have to try and drag his teammate along.
Yeah.
And Big Mama Frank.
Big Mama Frank is past Kiwi, who I'm not quite sure is on the softs.
No, both.
It's on for a different strategy.
Both Aston
Martins. Now they're almost on Joel Guron's rear end, and it's Alpine, Mercedes, and we will see now who gets to pit at the end of the 14th lap of this race. Who will be the one coming into the pits, and will it be Wild Fury? Yes, it is. Combined YouTuber, yes, as well. Both of them staying out quite late and leaving it for a first set of softs. And they will probably drop quite a bit, but
Simon has
better
a
late
moment out of the final corner, which could invite the Mercedes and Mateo.
It will.
I don't actually think it will. It'll be close. It'll be around the outside, if anything. And the two Mercedes almost colliding as Mateo weaves across the track, and they make contact. And so Mateo makes contact not only with his teammate, but with Simon Colston as well. And that's really hurt the Mercedes situation here.
Not the first time Mateo's collided into a teammate, if I said so.
Not exactly a very tactical position swap for the Mercedes, but nevertheless, that is the end result.
Ranger has gained even more time, unbelievably. Ranger here has gained even more time on Simon Colston and the pack behind him. The gap now, 8.6 seconds. As Wild Fury goes down the outside at turn 13.
Great move.
Almost seemed like it lost a place, but those fresh softs have significantly better grip than an old medium. Remember.
So I think
Combined YouTuber here has an incredible tire advantage of about a second a lap, remember. The softs are worn. They're not in great shape.
T-Nell just throwing it around the outside, and now he's ahead of the Mercedes. Very odd spot to overtake, but he's done so, and he's going to keep this position. Let's see if Joel Guron can make it past Simon Colston. He doesn't. Not at this corner, but I think he well may do so.
Let's see.
Into turn 1 onto the battery. He has this.
Oh, an NVA sliding heavily into the final corner. That will not allow BMF to get a chance, though. He has lost DRS. Combined YouTuber will get it. I think Combined here could be overtaking two people, and he will overtake two people. Great stuff from the Australian driver as he heads up into 7th place. And those softs could well be working magic near the end of this race.
Yeah, it's funny though. Wild Fury hasn't really. He's going to start gaining now, but from what I saw, at least where he was last lap, he hasn't really gained too much as Joel Guron went off, and now he's made an unsafe rejoin, I have to say. And now he's in front of his teammate, and T-Nell has been, somehow he's found his way right behind Simon Colston once again.
Just finding the time as Ranger is absolutely running away with this Grand Prix at the minute. He is miles clear of the others. Dominant drive from the Haas driver, and If he pulls this off, it will be another Haas win. Wild Fury and Combined are going to be catching up to that train of cars. They've just overtaken, but they do have to watch out for a slight drop in lap time past lap 22, because they could be on worse tires than other people around them.
There goes T-Nell around the outside of the final corner, which could set up Simon Colston to make a move into turn 1. But now he's got Joel right behind him, so we'll see what happens here into turn 1. No battery usage from the Alfa Romeo, and he will stay behind, but we do have another battle between these 3 cars. It's Max Bonini and Big Mama Frank who will come first into turn 1. It looks like it may well be the Williams, and it will be.
It is the Williams.
But who will be
Big
right
Mama
behind
Frank
him?
and Big Mama Frank, I think they make a little bit of contact as NVA speeding in the pit lane, and would have been a bit of a poor race from Aston Martin.
BMF not able to capitalize. I mean, he was able to capitalize, sorry. And the Ferrari, the short end of the stick here. And now they've caught up, actually. No, I'm just completely waffling at this point. But I think with Bonini's tires conditions, if these soft tires run out just a little bit, I mean, right now he's gaining, and now he's losing again, so there goes my point. But I think Bonini could still be looking to make up some positions if he's lucky. But I think defense could be the main priority here. Combined YouTuber
We'll see.
is in the DRS of Wild Fury, and now Wild Fury has started to gain on the people ahead of him. But it's really about whether Combined YouTuber wants to maybe try and pace up on his own and catch up to the people ahead, or whether he's going to try and sit behind
Yellow flag.
the Ferrari.
As it is,
Jeff won.
Jeff has, I think, gone for a bit of a spin, but no great race for my... Yeah, he's back, but it hasn't been a great race for one of my drivers. And it is much better fortunes for another. Into turn 1, Combined YouTuber doesn't get an opportunity. As Mac overtakes Big Mama Frank on the run into the first chicane.
So with T-Nell, Simon Colston, and Joel Garan, I mean, it's kind of a weird, it could be a very weird ending to this, because right now I don't think T-Nell and Simon Colston are actually really having the pace to pull away from Joel, at least not as much as they want to.
T-Nell is pulling away a second, though.
Yeah, but
should be looking at those gaps.
Simon Colston is still right there. I mean, he's in the DRS now, so whether he can keep that, this will just make this battle continue. But Simon Colston has just dropped out. So now it'll be up to Joel to bring his team along, hopefully, into podium positions here.
Yeah, T-Nell, 1 minute 30.6 on the last lap. Ranger, a second slower. So the pushing is on for T-Nell. He wants he might need a crack at a shock victory, but I'm not sure if it's coming anytime soon.
And Joel only getting closer, completely dropping his teammate there, and with another moment from Simon Colston out of the final corner, will Joel go for a move here? He's on the DRS. He doesn't need the battery, I don't think, to go side by side with the Alfa Romeo here. He's going to try around the outside. Does he have the straight line speed? Of course
He's got it, yeah. Let's hear him combine here. Former teammates. Combined YouTuber's going to go down the inside into that chicane, and he is up into 6th place, and those soft runners are catching up to the pack around them. So don't discount Combined and Wild Fury from possibly getting as high up as P4, because that gap could be closed in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, I mean, last time around this lap here, Combined YouTuber was 2.9 away, now he's 1.7 away. So this is only looking better for soft tire runners. It's just if these soft tires stick with them until the end of the race, and I think they may well, as he hits a wall on the entry to
Light graze.
the left wall. But yeah, I think he'll be
Lightly
okay.
grazing.
Simon Colston, I mean, he could still challenge the Mercedes. He's almost going side by side, but backs out, and now that kind of sets up this move. Maybe he's going to try to go for it into the final corner. I don't think he'll need the ERS at all. He's maybe going to play a little bit of chicken. He's turned off the DRS, and I think Joel knows that that is what he's doing. but that's kind of helped his teammate back into contention now. So we'll see. Simon Colston, he wanted this DRS going in to the final corner, so now what will he do with it? It looks like he'll make an overtake, but he's got Matteo right alongside him, so what will this cause between the two Mercedes?
Mateo's lifting.
Completely backing out. And
yeah, fully backing
played.
off in the end.
Very smartly played. And now I will not be surprised to see maybe the gap from combined YouTuber to Matteo go down a bit, but it's actually more than it was last time around, so I wonder what could be the cause of that. But through the sector one, I expect him to gain a lot of time here.
He is gaining significant lap time. That gap is 1.6 seconds. So the softs have gone off a little bit. They're increasingly second hand, if you will, because they do hit the cliff at about lap 4. It doesn't mean they're not going to be good though, as that gap is just under 1.5 seconds. Give it another lap and another fight, and Combined could be seeing himself throw up into an unlikely podium up here on the alternate strategy.
I mean, Combined, we know he's quick, so it's just about whether he can use it. He's setting good times in the sector, he's using all the curb he needs, and it's not really hurting him. So Matteo getting ever so closer to his Mercedes teammate, but I don't think he'll even think about making a move here. That's only
no, he won't get it. He won't be getting it anytime soon. And I think Wild Fury will get past Combined YouTuber, as the former teammates are just going to keep position swapping, if you will.
Yeah, and initially it looked like Joel would try and make a move on Simon Collison, but he turned off the battery pretty soon, and now Wild Fury makes it past Combined YouTuber. So the soft tire runners swapping positions, I'm not really sure if that's what they need, especially if Combined YouTuber is going to try and fight it, but he backs off.
That's going to be... DRS swapping is the best thing Combined YouTuber can do at the minute. He's not going to be able to close up on pure pace because A, the softs have dropped and they have become a little bit second hand, and breaking into the DRS here as found in D1 is a little bit tough as Combined with a bit of a moment in that S's section. He's not out, but he has lost about 0.3 of a second to the cars around him. This will help him though, quite dramatically, to close up and get ahead.
Yeah, so 1.5 seconds, 1.4 now. He's only getting closer, but it's just the fact that Matteo has DRS that's really helping him just stay ahead a little bit longer of the soft tire runners. If without it, I'm sure that the soft tire runners would have caught up by now. But
yeah, without DRS, but Combined again wide. But I think that he might just be doing it for the better because he's just wanting to save a little bit of battery and then maybe attack on the last few laps of this race, because you never know with a track like this. That could be a safety car next lap. The leader could crash, P2 could crash, P3 could crash.
And here goes Joel. He's going to easily have this move on the Alfa Romeo. But
he's
now
blown past Simon. Mateo's going to get it.
Really trying it, and
backing
he's
off
not going to do it.
Dramatically.
But going deep now
heavily
is Simon
backed off.
So the two Mercedes are doing a really good job of just kind of putting Simon under stress. And now will Matteo go for it into turn 4? Here we go.
This is not a place to overtake. That is not a place to make an overtake, and I think that might just have invited Wild Fury if he does the first sector of his life here. I might just have invited him into the train.
And he has gained, Wild Fury, and now he's on the battery knowing that he needs to get a bit closer.
He has to get close. He is going to get close. Those softs are probably the tire to be on right now, and I think he's got into the train. Him and Combined have got into the train here. He just needs a good exit, and they both have good exits. And yes, they are in the train. They are in the train. It is now going to be, if they can hit that train, if they can keep it there. And that should be relatively easy, considering the pace of the softs on this circuit. And they have kept it. They are back in the train of these cars. And one fight, as I said, one dirty fight. And there is the train, and Wild Fury may have just lost access to that DRS train, and he has lost access temporarily, but Combined YouTuber will get a run, and he probably will be putting someone in the train again. Position swapping on lap 23. 3 laps to go here in Saudi Arabia.
And I
as
think
John Ranger is absolutely running away in the lead. Oh, there's a yellow flag. That is Big Mama Frank going off at turn 1. And we now see combined YouTuber here, possibly catching up. The car's in front, but his soft tires have become a bit secondhand. They are wearing out pretty quickly, and if he decides to get a run on, that will be all dependent on Matteo or Simon having a bit of a fight.
yeah, I think one of the main... Okay, so back last lap when Matteo was trying to go down the inside for turn 4, I honestly don't know if he was even actually trying to make up a position there, but rather try and split Simon Colston away from his teammate so he can have him for his own. And I
think it was just there. I think it was just there
go.
because just so that Simon got an absolute blasting, and now he's going to get it into the final corner. Seafront in the background, the media island of this Saudi Arabian circuit in the background as well, as everyone is going to be lapping Jeff 1 here. Not a great race for him, sadly.
Yep, and here
he
comes
is a lap
Matteo.
down.
He's going to try down the inside of Simon Colston. Simon is going to try fight
He's going to send it into turn 1. He's got the run. Simon's going to go down the inside, and they're fighting beautifully. Simon has had a spin almost. He's lost traction out of that first corner.
Matteo's made it, but I have a few more questions now because Joel is not too far away from T-Nell, and Matteo is not too far away from his teammate. So it's a very big question for Joel. Does he keep on pushing and try to get that position, or does he maybe try and strategically draw back to give his teammate any help against Simon Colston? Because I know for a fact Simon Colston is not trying to be done just yet, but he's having a bit of a few moments. So hopefully he can stay with the Mercedes, and that will provide us a big battle for P4 here.
We'll see now the gap from Simon to Walter has gone up a little bit, so those soft tires are becoming second-hand, and to make this strategy work, you absolutely need to have the pace to make it work and not get involved in many dumb fights. As leader Ranger heads into the final lap of the Grand Prix, it has been smooth sailing for him. Combined YouTuber playing a bit of DRS chicken as he probably will assume the lead onto the final lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Yep, and here comes Simon Colston. He's well alongside the Mercedes, so
He's
this
ahead.
battle could well go to the end of the race. Could see like an Esteban Ocon situation and Valtteri Bottas in 2021. Just by the line, it could be decided for P4. And behind
P3.
No, it'd be P4.
Combined YouTuber is going to be in P6. That is a solid drive from him. All he needs to do is not mess it up. Ranger hasn't messed it up. He is only 4 kilometers away or so from winning this Grand Prix.
Well, you're going a bit wide out of 11, but that hasn't really hurt him at all. Maybe a warning at most. But I don't know if he'll have a run here, but we should maybe look towards Simon Colston, who's actually, he's gaining very quickly on Joel.
He's gained on Joel, unbelievably. And combined is leading another train here, so he could be doing some last-second, slightly shady defending.
Hopefully not.
Spanini almost running out of battery. And now we'll see. It's going to be the battle for P3. It's going to go down to the final couple of corners. And there's going to be one corner away. Will there be a last-second dive? Simon Colston moves to the outside. Joel's going to have that switchback covered a little bit. Ranger wins in Saudi Arabia, but will Simon Colston get P2? Tanel is in second. It's going to be close to the line, and Simon is P3 in the desert.
And
combined YouTuber, 500th of a second decided P3 in that race. So in the end, I was correct.
And 400ths for combined YouTuber and Spanini.
Close racing.
Yeah.
This track, despite it being narrow, despite it being tight, has produced probably the best racing from Division 2 I can remember in a very, very long time. definitely not. Definitely since at least season 5 or season 6. It's been a while, but that was a cracker of a race to watch.
Yes, it was. I mean, Simon Gulson, that last lap was absolutely incredible from him. He was like around a second behind Joel, and then he just absolutely nailed it. And now, but just
It's
barely, he's made it.
He's rewarded himself with P3. As
And
Wild
ooh,
Fury,
he's left the
somehow,
session.
yeah,
Well,
he's left the session, so he should be P6 in the final results.
luckily we had that on camera.
Yeah.
All right. Driver of the day goes to Mac for most overtakes, but I don't know. Who's your driver of the day, Magnuson?
I think it's probably going to be Tanel or Simon, because they both had some very strong drives. Both of them recovering very nicely. And Tanel, for one, absolutely broke out of the DRS train. He ran away, so he had some great pace toward the back end of that race to really claim P2. As Ranger does a T-pose on the podium. 25 laps of hard-fought racing in Saudi Arabia results in a win for Ranger, in a win from pole from John Ranger, from Tanel in his first full-time race in Division 2, ending it in second place. Simon Colston rounds out the podium as Joel Guron is cruelly denied a third place by just half a tenth of a second. Matteo P4, Spanini making it up to P5, Wild Fury's P6, but he left mid-session, or technically before the results screen, so that the game has put him as a DNF. Spanini P7, combined YouTuber in P8, a solo race from him. Mac in P8, Mac in P9, Dan in P10 after recovering from a first lap spin. Big Mama Frank and Avira 11th and 12th, so they haven't had the pace they would have wanted to show. Rigraph 12th, Kiwi, well, 14th, Rigraph 13th, Kiwi 14th, NVA 15th. Sleek in his first race back, 16th. Wild Fury, we mentioned him. He should be P6. Logan, 18th. And Jeff is the last classified driver. And now, after that Grand Prix, we will get, hopefully, the top 3 up on the broadcast booth.
Yeah, let's hope for
After
some
that.
nice interviews. Let's get them in here.
Yeah.
Alright, we have Simon Colston, and he has finished P3, the man himself in P3, by the skin of his teeth. Simon Colston, welcome to the podium booth.
How was your race?
Honestly, terrible. I'm very disappointed in myself. But, yeah, I mean, it was alright, I guess. P3.
That last lap was the stuff of legend, really. Really made up that.
I mean, me and Joel have always been great friends and good racers to each other, so, yeah, it went down to the wire and just, was it like half a tenth, wasn't it, to the line, or something like that? So, yeah, it was pretty good.
Half a tenth of a second, but those are the differences of this level.
Indeed, yeah.
That was all strategic, wasn't it, knowing you?
Bold strategy, but it
really wasn't.
long stint of those mediums, but it really did pay off in the end.
And I was hoping for a good undercut, but I got stuck behind the two Astons through Sector 1. I lost about 2-3 seconds, and then Ranger pitted, and he just got just in front of them, so it was perfect for him. And great job to him, great job to Terrell, whatever his name is, as well. They're both quick, amazing drivers as well. So yeah.
Let's get our P2 man, T-Nell, into the call. Our second place finisher here in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
And welcome on board, Snell. How's your Grand Prix?
Pretty much smooth sailing, actually. I just held back in that train, that first stint, and then when I had the chance, second stint on the mediums, I just took off while those three were battling off.
So you absolutely broke out of that train. Congratulations, dude. On a track like this, just absolutely running out of that train, just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky as well, pitting a lap later, coming right behind them, because they did get held back a little by some of the later pit stoppers, so that also contributed. And yeah, glad to get some good points.
Yeah, so
all right.
Well, I got it. So your first full-time season here in Zoom Racing League, and with a start like that, I mean, what do you think you can bring to the table in these next few races? Do you think we can see more of the same, or Like, in your honest opinion, do you think it was a one-off? Because I think you showed some pretty good potential today.
Uh, I'm not sure where Saudi Arabia stands on how good a track I am. Honestly, time will tell. I've never raced. I've only raced two reserve last season, and honestly, they were quite terrible. Although I have improved my pace, it's just we'll see later down in the season. Anything can happen.
All right.
Anyway, congratulations on P2 on your first full-time race, and let's get our race winner, John Ranger, onto the call.
Thank you.
Congratulations, John Ranger. You thought you weren't gonna be in here, but well, you are in here.
Well, I had to protect myself from potential broadcast cursing from you. I am still rather shocked, I'll be honest. I felt confident in my qualifying pace, wasn't very confident in my race pace, and yeah, what happened, and there was a lot of battles for P2, so that allowed me to gain a comfortable distance and be able to manage my pace and make sure no mistakes were made.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Just ran into the lead 2013 Vettel style and got away.
Yeah. So, I mean, John, I was really surprised when you said that you didn't think you'd have the pace to be on the podium, but I mean, you've always been quick, so with these next races of the season, I mean, do you think you can carry this momentum?
Well, first of all, I'm racing as a reserve, so I think luckily for the other drivers, I'm not being here full time. I am a full time driver in a different league, Mondays currently.
Loser.
Right. So, but I think what might explain my pace is, I kind of went for a wheel of great last month, and it helps me be a little bit more consistent, and I have a better feel for the car and where the limits are as the tire degrades. So. I felt comfortable throughout the entire race. I think my main challenge was stopping myself from massively overthinking and wishing myself into a mistake or a crash, because that tends to be the thing that would happen with me over the last season or two. And it was a perfect race, and it's a double Haas win. I was reserving for my ex-team in Haas again, and glad to bring it home for Haas.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Congratulations on one of the most dominant wins in a while in D2. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We will see you next week for the San Marino / Imola / Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, or Italian Grand Prix, now that we're not doing Monza, on November 19th and 20th at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week and have a great week.
Be sure to like and subscribe so you can pay for my